Welcome back to another edition of Barb City 2.0. In this video, I'm going to go over everything barbs, especially what I use for filtration, what I'm feeding my barbs, and what I plan on doing with them this year. I'm going to change things around a bit, and who knows, I may even add a couple new barbs. Well, stay tuned, everyone. Remember, if you haven't already done so, hit that like button, think about subscribing, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Welcome back to Stubbs Aquatics. Like I said, we'll be talking everything about barbs today. So this is Barb City 2.0. And let's start right off with, well, the first barb tank. And that's the tank that was named Barb City for all the barbs that I keep in there, being my famous aruliusbarbs that I breed, being my famous odessabarbs that I breed and sell off. They're doing well in this 55-gallon tank. In fact, this 55-gallon tank is my oldest tank, believe it or not. It's, well, my famous odessabarbs that I breed and sell off. They're doing well in this 55-gallon tank. In fact, this 55-gallon tank is my oldest tank, believe it or not. It's, well, it's almost 35 years old, maybe even a bit older. The fish that are in there now are my black rubies. They're doing excellent. My tigers, they're doing really well. I may even add a couple more. There's some checkered barbs in here. 3 cherry barbs, because that's all I had when they had when I bought them. They are doing marvelous. This tank, I currently have 2 hang on the back filters. Both are rated for over 75 gallons. Being this is a 55-gallon well-stocked tank, I wanted it, well, over-filtered. And there's lots of current in there. The main plants I have in this tank are, well, anubias. I do have a little bit of bacopa at the top, as you can tell. I had tried other plants in there. Swords were doing pretty good, but being that I didn't want to be a slave to giving them root tabs, well, I ended up moving them out. Fish are really doing well. I keep this tank at about 73 degrees Fahrenheit. This is one of the few tanks that I've heated, simply because it's in my basement. Dead of winter, it gets pretty cold down there, so I wanted to make sure that they stayed nice and warm. Never had any problems with any diseases in this tank. You can tell I really like my driftwood in my aquariums. I try to give it as much natural look as I can, and I try to keep the species as pretty close as I can to what, well, they'd be in the wild. You can tell I really do love these fish. And, well, being that they've never had any illness, I've really been happy with them. The Odessas that are in there, most of those are younger. There may be a couple 3-year-olds in there, simply because I moved some of my broodstock in there, simply because, well, they were getting old, and I wanted them to be able to retire in a nice spot. The fish that stay in there are my forever fish, and it's really hard to get them out of there, given the height of that overhang in there is not really conducive to working in. It's great to view the fish in that aquarium, but it's not overly great to work in that fish room. So I pretty much, if the fish go in there, they stay in there. There are a couple bristlenose. Other than that, it's just strictly barbs, other than one lonely crebensis female, and she went in there because she was getting picked on in my crebensis tank, and she's doing fine with the barbs. They leave her alone. She leaves them alone. It's a really good system that they've worked out themselves. As you can see, there's no squabbling in here. Remember, I always keep at least 7 barbs at a time. Now, I know I said that, but I only keep 3 cherries. That's because that's all they had, and they get along fine with these other type of barbs. It's when you only keep a couple barbs of specific ones that they can get a bit nippy. Mainly tiger barbs, and sometimes melon barbs can do the same. But we'll talk about them next. Well, they're behind me actually in this tank. This is an old 100-gallon tank. You don't see too many of these around anymore. There's no spacer bar in there. It's a really great tank. I've got three large hang on the back filters, one tidal, 110, and the other ones that are rated for 75 gallons. I've also got some air stones going, uh, lots of plants, lots of anubias at the bottom. I've also got the bacopa at the top, and well, I'm going to be doing something special with this tank really soon, adding more plants. There are some swords in here and some cryptocorin, which I plan on even adding more. And I think you'll really love this tank once I get it all set up and done. This is in my main fish room. This tank stays at about 73 degrees Fahrenheit constantly. The fish love it. The Odessas in here and the checker barbs, they don't need it that warm. It's just the way I wanted it set up in there. Now, there are melon barbs in here. They're relatively shy, and unfortunately, all females. I would like to have a couple males in there, and I may. I'm looking at either placing some Denison barbs in there or maybe some clown barbs, just to give it a little bit different look. I do love my Odessas, and in fact, I think I'm gonna be breeding them again outside this year. They did wonderful. They bred too well. It took me until this year to basically sell them off. In fact, I moved 15 or 16 out a few weeks ago, and I think they sold in 2 days. Well, given the color of these guys, they are beautiful. This tank is nice and healthy, no problem at all. Uh, the first Barb City tank, it's got some gravel, some sand. This one's got gravel and a dirt substrate. Uh, just because of the way I put the granite gravel in there, a lot of plants, especially Vallisneria, does not do well in that. I think it needs a softer substrate like sand. But live and learn, right? Remember, if you've been enjoying what you've been watching, make sure you hit that thumbs up and think about subscribing. Now let's get back to the show. We'll go on next to, well, one of my favorite tanks, that being my 125-gallon tank. Now that hosts my aruliusbarbs, and it also hosts my Denison barbs and my mascara. You can tell from all these species that I love schooling and shoaling fish. Uh, these guys in both these tanks school rather well, and well, are very food driven. So if you're entering the room, they're on you like a flash. They're constantly moving, and the 100-gallon or 125-gallon tank, I've got mainly Bacopa at the top now. I used to have it throughout the tank, but it got a little lanky, and well, I like it now better at the top. It grows lots of roots, especially where the water's coming out of my hang on the back filters. It grows some massive roots, and it does excellent for cleaning the water. Not to mention, it fills the entire top of my tank, both in the water and on top of my lid, with lots of Bacopa cuttings that I cut all the time and then add into other tanks. Uh, the 125 itself, well, it's it's got lots of terrestrial plants on the top. That really helps with the water quality, and it makes the fish feel more at ease and calm. Currently in the 125 is my all Indian tank, and all the species that are in there that I've previously mentioned are all from India. I try to keep it that way. I am adding more and more larger Anubis plants in here. I've noticed whether it's my bristle nodes in there that's was well eating some of my smaller anubias. So it's it's been difficult to find the right plant for this tank. I just added some new large cryptocorin in here that should do well. I have a little bit of Java fern, and I've added one monstrous Anubis plant. It's just, I'm loving the huge leaf on it. I can't wait for it to expand. As far as ditherfish, I do have some white cloud mountain minnows in both my 125 and my 100. That was just to keep when they went in there first, but I mean, as the white clouds die off, I doubt I'll be replacing any of them. Simply because they didn't go with the Indian only theme. But look at these colors of these Aurelius barbs. They are stunners. And that's why I love it. And I really like the dark look of this tank. It is hard to get a really good shot of this tank, simply because of the lighting in the room. There's tanks surrounding the whole room here, and they're all large with lots of light. So it's always a constant reflection, which makes it hard for shooting sometimes. But you know, the plants and the fish are happy. Yes, I could turn off all the lights, but it's going to take me a long time to reset them all, and sometimes it's just, well, that's just a lot of work. I truly love how these fish do school, and they are beautiful and get along so well, being they're all in the same family, anyways. But the coloration on them, the markings, the fins. I do want to go over with you what I feed them because I think it's really important. Give them a real good mix of quality flake, both Northfin and other makes, as long as the protein is good and really good ingredients. I give all my fish uh, community pellets from Northfin. It's a point 0.5. It's great. I no longer have any bug bites left, but this is my goldfish and koi food. All my large barbs get that being any of my filament barbs, being Denison, mascara, or my Aurelius barbs, and they just love it. They're in the same family and as goldfish and koi anyway, so it's going to be good for them. And you can tell how much they love this. They just attack it. This is not a sinking food. This is a floating food, and they're all over it. Now, because I have some smaller fish in there, I do have to give them a variety of smaller pellets and flakes, which I always mix in there just to make sure everyone gets food. And it's nice to have some sinking pellets that'll get down to the bottom to keep the bristle nose happy. My Odessas and my gold barbs, well, they're very aggressive feeders, and this is their second feeding. I normally wouldn't feed them two feedings in one day, but for the purposes of this video, I did. To ensure my melon barbs at the bottom get fed properly, they get to point 0.5 and it's sinking, so they have a better chance of getting more food because the other ones are very aggressive feeders. And that's one thing you have to really remember with barbs is they're aggressive feeders. Again, that's why I give these guys some point 0.5, gets down to the bristle nose, and I put some flake in there to make sure um, my white clouds get plenty of food as well. Because, like I said, they are aggressive feeders. And finally, give a bit of a feed to my Barb City tank. Now, this I really have to ensure that I get a good mix because there's so many aggressive feeders in here. The checkers and the cherries barbs would not stand a chance of getting proper feed, especially with black rubies, tigers, and Odessas in there. Now, I do know that my crebensis does get enough feed, so I keep an eye for her. These guys only get fed once a day, and usually on one day off a week. Which tank has been your favorite Barb City tank? Three to choose from. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but everyone always has a favorite. Let me know in your comments. Would truly appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to hit that like button, think about subscribing, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. We'll see you on the next one. Remember, barbs are good fish too.